All right, let's dive in. Every great idea, every project, every dream starts with a vision, right? But it always comes with a big dose of uncertainty. Today, we're going to unpack how you can not just manage that uncertainty, but actually turn it into a powerful advantage. Let's get to it. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? You've got this amazing idea, you're all fired up, and then that little voice in the back of your head kicks in, whispering, yeah, but what if it all goes wrong? It's that same feeling whether you're starting a whole new company or, just trying something new. Okay, so to make all of this really click, we're going to stick with one simple, concrete example the whole way through: opening a brand new coffee shop. Yep, that's it. Every single idea we talk about, we're going to apply it directly to making this little business a huge success.
So, what's our map for this journey? It's the international standard for managing risk called ISO 31000. Now, I know what you're thinking. An international standard sounds boring. But trust me, this is not some dusty, complicated rule book. Think of it more like a recipe or a playbook, a super practical and flexible guide for navigating all that uncertainty and actually hitting your goals.
All right, first things first. Before we can even think about managing risk, we got to be on the same page about what risk really is. And honestly, the official definition might not be what you expect.
Yep, that's it. The effect of uncertainty on objectives. Super simple, right? The key thing here is that it's not just about bad stuff or disasters. Risk is just the effect. It could be good, it could be bad. It's whatever uncertainty does to what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, let's tie this directly to our coffee shop. The main goal, our objective, is to be profitable in year one. So any uncertainty that could mess with that goal is a risk. That could be a bad thing, like a sudden spike in the price of coffee beans, or a new competitor opening right next door. But it could also be a good thing, like a rave review going viral and suddenly we have way more customers than we can handle. That's a risk too.
Next, we have another super important word: stakeholder. And no, this doesn't just mean the people who invested money. It's way broader than that. A stakeholder is basically anyone or any group that has a stake in how our coffee shop does.
And for our little coffee shop, that list is actually pretty long. Think about it. Our customers are definitely stakeholders, right? Their satisfaction is everything. Our baristas? Absolutely stakeholders. If they're not happy, the service suffers. Even our coffee bean suppliers and the landlord who owns the space, they're all stakeholders. Every single one of them can affect our goal of being profitable, and they're all affected by it, too.
So how does this ISO 31000 guidebook actually help us pull this off? Well, it's really built on three main parts that all work together. You've got the principles. That's kind of like our mindset. Then there's the framework. Think of that as our organizational structure. And finally, the process. That's our day-to-day action plan. Let's break each one down.
Let's start with the principles. This is the foundation. It's not about a checklist of things to do. It's all about how you think. It's about getting into the right mindset for dealing with uncertainty in a smart way. And right at the heart of this entire mindset is one simple goal: to create and protect value. For our coffee shop, value isn't just about the money in the register. It's about the amazing coffee, the happy employees who know your name, the loyal customers who come back every day. That's the value, and everything we do should be about building it and protecting it.
So what does this mindset look like in the real world? Well, for one, it's integrated. Thinking about risk isn't some extra meeting you have once a month. It's just part of how you make every decision. It's also customized. The plan for our small coffee shop should look totally different from a plan for a giant corporation, right? And, really important, it's inclusive. That means we actually listen to people. We talk to our baristas about what new equipment would work best, and we ask our customers what they'd like to see on the menu. That's where the best insights come from.
Okay, so we've got the mindset down. But a mindset needs a system to actually work. And that's where the W framework comes in. I like to think of it as the operating system, It's the thing that's quietly running in the background of our coffee shop, making sure everything is working together smoothly. And if you look at how this is structured, it all starts right there in the middle, with leadership and commitment. This is non-negotiable. If the person in charge isn't on board, the whole thing just falls apart. It absolutely has to start from the top. So for our coffee shop, this means the owner isn't just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best. No way. They're showing their commitment by doing real things,
making sure everyone knows who's responsible for what, putting aside some time and money specifically for dealing with surprises, and crucially, making it clear that this isn't just the manager's job. Managing uncertainty is part of everyone's job.
All right, we've got the mindset, we've got the operating system. Now it's time to get our hands dirty. This is the process. This is our action plan, the step-by-step stuff we actually do to handle uncertainty.
So this whole thing is a continuous cycle, right? You're always communicating, always monitoring. But for now, let's zoom in on what I think is the real engine room of this whole process. This part right here, called risk assessment.
I know risk assessment sounds kind of formal and scary, but it really boils down to 3 pretty simple questions. First is identification. Basically, what could happen? Let's just brainstorm. Second is analysis. For each of those things, we ask, how likely is it, and how big of a deal would it be if it happened? And third is evaluation. We look at our analysis and decide, okay, do we actually need to do something about this one?
Okay, let's run a real possibility for our coffee shop through these 3 steps. Step 1, identification. What if our only coffee bean supplier suddenly goes out of business? Okay, got it. Step 2, analysis. What's the likelihood? Probably pretty low, they're a stable company. But what's the consequence? It would be catastrophic. No beans means no coffee means no business. So step 3, evaluation. Even though it's not very likely, the impact would be so high that, yeah, we have to do something about this.
So, what do we do? This next step is called risk treatment, and ISO 3100 basically gives us a menu of options, like superpowers. We could try to avoid the risk. Don't just rely on one supplier in the first place. Or we could remove the risk. Maybe we find a new, more solid supplier right now. We could change the likelihood. Maybe we sign a long-term contract that locks in our supply. We could share the risk. That's what things like business interruption insurance are for. Or, for a much smaller risk, like a 1-day delay in shipping, we might just decide to retain it, basically accepting that it could happen and it's not worth the effort to stop.
So, we've covered the mindset, the system, and the action plan. Let's see what this all looks like when our coffee shop owner actually puts it into practice.
And the result? The shop opens and it's a huge success. By thinking about things like that supplier problem before it happened, the owner was ready. Look, the point was never to get rid of every single possible risk. That's impossible. The real goal was just to understand the uncertainties out there, because that understanding is what lets you make smarter decisions and protect the amazing thing you're building.
If there's only one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this. Risk management is not a checklist. It's not about bureaucracy or filling out forms. It is a creative, proactive, and honestly, powerful way of thinking that helps you navigate the messy, uncertain world and actually achieve your goals.
So that brings it back to you. In whatever you're working on, your job, a personal project, that big idea you have, what's the first bit of uncertainty you're going to go out and tackle?